All right. So these first four problems are all asking us to write the equation in point slope form. And so we know that point slope form is, I'll write it here, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. That's our equation here. And we know that the point that we're going to use is -2, -2. And the slope we're going to use is 3/2. So I'm just going to put in the values right into this right here. So I've got y minus, and this is going to be -2. And that whole thing is going to be equal to the slope, which we said is just 3/2, times x minus, and that's also going to be -2 because it goes through -2, -2. So there's my equation in point slope form. However, I can simplify it because I've got this -2 here and a -2 here, and I can simplify that to show that y minus -2 is the same thing as y plus 2. And y plus 2 equals 3/2. And x minus -2 is the same thing as x plus 2. So here is our final equation that's simplified in point slope form that shows us that if you go through point -2, -2, and slope of 3/2, you end up with y plus 2 equals 3/2 x plus 2. Problem 2, let's do the same thing. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Where we know that our point is going through 5, -2, and our slope is 1/5. So I'm just going to write in my values. Y minus, what is the y value? The y value is -2. So y minus -2, that whole thing is going to equal my m, and my m is 1/5, and the 1/5 is times the quantity of x minus x1, which in this case is going to be x minus, and the x value is 5. So now I can just simplify this a little bit because I have a minus minus, which I can turn into a positive. Y minus -2 is the same thing as y plus 2. And that's going to equal 1/5 times x minus 5. There's nothing to do here. X minus 5 is already simplified, so I can just leave it like that. So here's my final answer. Problem number 3, y minus y1 is going to equal m times x minus x1, where my slope m is going to be 5/3, and it's going through 0.30. So once again, I can say, so this one's going to be y minus 0, because that's my y coordinate. Y minus 0, and that's going to equal, m is 5/3, x minus 3. And this one is almost simplified as it is here, except y minus 0, that's just equal, of course, to y. And that's going to equal 5/3 x minus 3, the quantity x minus 3. So here it is now in final point slope form. Our final problem, problem 4, again, I'm just going to write out the equation in point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times the quantity x minus x1 where in this case I'm going through point -2, -3, and my slope is just equal to 1. So I can just plug in my values. Y minus, and that's going to be y minus my y value is right here of -3. And that whole thing is going to equal my slope, which is the value of 1 times x minus, and x minus what? My x value is -2. So now I can just simplify this. Y minus -3 minus a negative becomes a positive. Y plus 3. And 1 times anything, I don't need to even write the 1. I can just leave it alone. And so that's going to equal x minus a -2 minus a negative becomes a positive. So x plus 2. So I finally have my equation of y plus 3 equals x plus 2. Okay, so we're going to go through these problems. Problem number 5. The first thing we have to do is come up with a slope. And the slope is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So that's going to equal, if I call this x2 y2 and x1 y1, this is going to equal 1 minus -3 over 4 minus 0, which is going to be equal to 4 over 4, which equals 1. So we know our slope is 1. And now we're going to use our equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1 to come up with the equation we want. And I will choose to use this point here, although I could have easily chosen this one instead. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to choose one. I'll choose this one here. So I know that y minus, I said y1 actually, we'll be consistent. We'll use this one here, sorry. Okay, y minus 0 equals, my slope of m is 1 times, times x minus -3. So put all that together, y minus 0 is just y. 1 times anything is just the same. And this is going to be x minus -3 becomes x plus 3. For our next problem, once again, we have to come up with our slope. The slope is going to be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, where I'll call this x1 y1, x2 y2. So this is going to be equal to -5 minus 0 over 5 minus 2. That's equal to -5 over 3, which is equal to -5/3. And so now I can plug it into my equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I've got y minus 0 equals -5/3 times x minus 2. Put that all together, and that's just y equals -5/3 x minus 2. Okay, for problem number 7, once again, I need to find out the slope, and the slope is just equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And I'm going to choose this as x1, y1, and x2, y2. So this is going to be equal to my y2 is negative 1 minus 4 over x is 1 minus 0. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5 over 1 minus 0 is 1, so that's just equal to negative 5. So my slope is negative 5, and then I'm going to use that in the equation y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus y1 is 4, and that's going to equal my slope is negative 5 times x minus x1 is 0. So put that all together, and I get that that's y minus 4 equals negative 5 times x. Problem number 8. We have once again, we need to find my slope, and the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2. So that's going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Put that all together, I've got 1 minus negative 2 that's 1 plus 2, so that's 3. And negative 5 minus 4 is negative 9, so this whole thing reduces down to negative 1/3. Okay, so then I have to put it into my equation. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that's going to be y minus negative 2 equals negative 1/3 x minus my x1 is 4. And then I can simplify this. Y minus negative 2 is y plus 2, and that's going to equal negative 1/3 times x minus 4. And there's my final equation.